All right, everyone. Welcome to Out Young N Kinky Latex and Rubber Night. Figure out how to turn her on.
All right, while we work on getting microphones, I can do my intro monologue, right? Totally.
Yeah, keep going.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming out in the rain. This is Out Young N Kinky. This is Latex night for us. We're going to talk about everything smooth and shiny, like some people I know. For those who don't know me, I'm Master R. Thank you for coming out in the terrible, horrible weather we have tonight. So thank you for going out through that downpour. And thank you for Rebar for hosting us and letting us use their bar and their space for doing that. Woo. Thank you for DJ Jake Clef for broadcasting all of my noise and sound so I don't have to yell. Even though I'm known for yelling at people, I don't enjoy having to do it at bars. Edu, would you like to say a little bit for the opening?
Yes. All right. Hi, everyone. And we're here with Joey and Kirsten. And we're just going to learn all about everything rubber.
Edu, do you want to introduce Joey for us?
Yeah, so Joey is a founding member of the New York City Rubber Club, and it was started in 2019. The club focuses on building community and social connections around rubber gear. And when Joey isn't geared up, you can find him tinkering with computer system engineering, making new gear, 3D printing, and caring for his beloved birdies.
Yeah, we work the birdies in. We're also joined by Kirsten Li, Latex extraordinaire and gatherer of shiny people. I like that we're gathering shiny people. Known for sleek, sexy silhouettes and colorful, campy creations, Kirsten Li pushes the boundaries of latex apparel by blurring the line between fetish and fashion. She caters to both the latex enthusiast and the fashion-forward divas, like me if you can't tell. With a firm belief that latex is for everybody, Kirsten is also one of the founding members of Gloss Group, a New York City-based latex-focused community organizer. All right, anytime we do a panel, I always like to start the same way. It'll be for both of our panelists. Where were you, how old were you when you first discovered latex? What was the breakout moment?
The breakout moment. It was 2003 in my dorm room at FIT. My roommate was a dominatrix at Pandora's, which is a dungeon behind FIT. And I tried on one of those gummy dresses, so an outfit in a box, real classy. And I was mostly a PVC girl. And I have to say, at that point, it didn't really catch my eye, right? It was I was like, okay, I don't know what this is. But later, maybe 6-8 months later, I became a dominatrix. And through that, I met the Baroness, who is a pioneer of latex fashion. She is one of the people that brought color to latex. It used to be available only in black and red. And she introduced pink and purple and green. And then I modeled for her. And through conversation, let her know I was a student at FIT. And she needed a new assistant. She was opening up her new store in the East Village, and I became the Baroness's assistant. So I've been working with latex for 20-ish years. I've been in the kink scene for that long as well. And now I have my own brand, and I help run Gloss Group.
Wonderful. Joey, what about you? Take mine.
I started in 1994, I guess, when the internet was just coming around. And I remember kind of Googling around for some stuff and started finding gummy shorts and shirts and stuff like that. And it was very enticing. And then I learned about eBay, started buying some stuff, and it just kind of exploded from there. And I guess through the years, I've been gathering some friends together and just kind of playing around with the latex. And it kind of grew. And eventually in 2019, we started the club. Before then, it was just a group of us on Facebook, and we just got together when we could.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had a very similar experience through both of you, essentially, where I had my first experience kind of just stumble upon rubber porn, essentially, and being very confused, just oh, this caught my attention. It's very shiny. What is this? But it wasn't until much after when I was in undergrad and I was interested in fashion that I started like looking into latex. And you also mentioned vinyl? No.
Yeah, PVC.
PVC,
vinyl.
yes. PVC, which we love. Also, I think my first piece was a PVC piece from Mr. Virgilio or something like that. How did you go from not really thinking that PVC was your thing to, oh my God, this is definitely what we want to do in terms of
I mean,
fashion,
look
yeah.
at it. It's a total upgrade.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing like it. I haven't put on PVC in years. It's all disintegrated and I've said goodbye. Yeah, I mean, I think once I started making my own outfits, it's the only thing I reach for when I go out. Nothing else makes a statement. As you can see, I really love color. These colors glow in black light, so find my light. Everyone look at me. And that's really what I love about it. And you can get so creative with it, especially nowadays with like laser cutting and being able to print on it and how they can pour these beautiful patterns. And I even had custom leopard made for myself. So you can do all these fantastic things with it. And it looks like nothing else,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting panel discussion for me because when it comes to latex, I'm quite ignorant on the topic.
That's why we're here.
I have the one tank top piece, and it took two other people to help me get in it. That is how bad I am on the topic.
Or that's how nice your friends are.
Or that's how
Both.
nice the friends are. Sometimes, when they want to be. Or sometimes they just let me struggle to try to, like, squeeze in it.
That's half the fun.
Also, what do you mean friends? We're your subs. Like, we have no choice.
When it comes to getting into a piece, Joey, like, how am I getting in there? Are we using powder? Are we using lube? Like, what is the best means for me to get my big chest into the tiny little piece of latex?
I would say you have a couple options. You can do powder. It's not my personal preference. I like to lube the garment, use a lot less lube, and I find that I could clean things, lube it up, put it in a bag, and it's good to go right when I'm ready to wear it. If you lube yourself, then it's a little bit of getting ready and dealing with the garment and use a lot more lube. So not my preference, but all three work and they're all valid. And for lubes, I would use silicone lube. I wouldn't use anything more exotic than that, just the simple latex lube.
Nice. Now, when you say lube it up, put it in a bag, are you like putting it in like a Ziploc and you're like putting it in your work bag and bringing it to work with you and then changing in the work bathroom? Is that the key?
Yeah, usually I store it overnight and then I wear it to work, so it makes it a little easier that way.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Powder is the old school way of dressing. But when you sweat and you have powder, now you just have white goo coming out of your clothes. And maybe that's it. Maybe some of you are into that. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. But powder, I use it for people when we do custom fittings. Once lube hits latex, it's harder to alter. I do still suggest a little bit of powder for people who don't wear their latex very often. Heavy lubed latex in a bag. Latex is a natural material. It can grow mold.
Oh.
So it really depends how often you wear your pieces. I wear stuff a lot, so my stuff's hanging up. But, you know, especially over time, if you have a lot of pieces in a bag and everything's stacked, sometimes your pieces will stick together and then it's prone to ripping when you're trying to get it apart. So it really depends what your lifestyle is with latex.
So minor additions to that. So powder, you can use any powder, but if you do want to get a little creative, J-Lube can be quite the experience using as a powder, so that when you do sweat, things get very interesting.
Ooh.
So highly recommend at least one time to try.
Yeah, I was about to actually mention that. I did a performance once at Balcone with like dyed black J-Lube. That was an experience.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for bringing that up, the whole like mold problem and stretching and sticking, because I have definitely done that when I washed this recently. I was stupid and I left it in the bucket with the soap and the water for 2 days. And when I went back to it, it was a different color, and it was all stuck to each other. So, like, what would you do in that case to sort of like spruce it back up, and how would you store it to be so that that wouldn't happen to begin with?
I also leave my latex in the bath way too long. You're not the only one. Some colors just turn opaque or they turn different colors. It can also depend what kind of soap you're using. Nowadays, there are cleaning systems from B-Gloss or Vivashine. So they have a whole like wash and then dressing and then shine. It's like a whole thing. But you can get stains out of latex. It is possible.
It's hard.
I did not know that.
It's a little tricky. And I just want to add to the lube, you have to use silicone lube. Oil and latex do not get along. Do not use baby oil. Water-based lube isn't really going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Silicone is man-made rubber. So it is probably the closest thing chemically to latex.
Yeah, I would say like anything that's petroleum-based, anything that's oil-based, just don't use it. And if you're going to use powder and you go get like a baby powder, just make sure there's no other fragrances or anything in there because fragrances are also oils. So you have to be careful that there aren't like extra things in there, even though you're using powder, that will destroy the latex. So if you do leave your stuff in water for too long, the best is just let it hang and dry out. Stains are a lot harder to get out, so that's a whole different discussion. But I like to let my stuff air dry for at least a day, and then I lube it up afterwards and I let it dry as well. For me though, the way to lube it is I put everything into a bag of warm water and I pour water, raise and lower the latex into the water, and it very lightly coats everything. So it gives you a good starting point for storing your stuff, but letting it dry for at least a day is definitely important so you don't grow mold. And as far as stacking, over the last 10 years I've been trying to figure out why some of my pieces are all soft and sticky and degraded, and it seems to be the pressure. So if you hang stuff, it's the safest and best way to treat your latex over long term. If you put it in a bag, I would not put more than 4 or 5 pieces on top of each other. Just stay under like 4 or 5 inches, because after that it just gets too heavy and the bottom piece will start to fall apart and get soft.
And if it gets the ick, it's called the ick. It's the latex disease. So if one of your pieces gets it, it'll be like gummy or it'll dry out. Your other pieces will get it too. It's contagious. So you need to isolate the piece, quarantine it with the bag, and just generally just keep it away, or you can contact someone like me and maybe we can fix it or take that piece off and repair it for you so you can still have your piece.
That is reminding me, I have a few rope people in the audience who I know. So latex is like rope. It's always best to hang it. So don't just throw your rope in a bag, hang it up, just like your latex now.
So one minor note, you mentioned you repair stuff. So
Yes.
we do have people listed on the Rubber Club website. If you want to repair, there's a list of people we know about. If you know of people, tell us. Otherwise, if you're looking for resources, that we will try to keep up to date. So if you need something, come to the site and check it out. There's some resources there. I think you're on our site as a reference. So.
So one of the things that I found interesting with rubber is that the MIR competition has recently gone gender neutral for rubber.
I can speak personally. For the Rubber Club, we made a very intentional switch during the pandemic to be more gender inclusive. There are a lot of challenges with combining the genders, and I feel like that's just another 10-year journey for us. We're working on it. We have active conversations about how we can join groups. It's just there's a very heavy cultural momentum for keeping the groups separate, protecting certain spaces. So it's a work in progress. The Rubber Club itself is inclusive. We will accept anybody.
And I think it also is location-based. So when I went to Rubber Ball in Minneapolis, I had noticed that the gay boys and the straight people and the furries and everyone was all together. And so I called up Nathan and you and was like, how can we just combine everyone together? So I think some of it has to do with the political history here. But I have attended Rubber Club events and I've had a good time chatting with everyone and getting some really surprising looks when you guys realize I'm a woman. And we definitely have a lot of members of the Rubber Club attend Gloss as well, and we love having everyone. We have all genders attend Gloss, so it's really about coming together because we all love this wonderful fabric.
In my opinion, by no means an expert on the topic, I feel like the more experienced you get in your kink practice, we'll like start off shy and start off in our own little group of people who we know, and as we become more bold and more public with our kinks, we tend to explore more of a open space. I don't want to say pansexual space, but it's the only word that's coming to my mind. I really started off in rope tying, really focusing on tying in only like gay men groups, and now I just got back from a rope conference in Texas where it was men, women, everything in the middle. And I think that just comes with having a little bit more confidence in your kink.
I would say the Rubber Club is open to trying and pushing. It's been challenging. So Gloss and the Rubber Club are trying to do like a combined party. It's going to come in the future. It's just right now there's challenges.
How would you suggest new people that are coming into the rubber space approach these spaces if they don't necessarily feel super safe?
Well, both of our groups have cocktail hours, happy hours. So it's a more casual environment. So you can come after work. You can wear rubber if you so choose. And it's more of a low-key environment to get to know people versus walking in and seeing all this play and all this stuff happening and you're like, oh my God. And then you can kind of get to know people prior to the event. So when you do attend the event, you have a new friend. So.
Rubber Club has made some very clear and intentional decisions to try to make this easier. We have 3 different levels of events. We have an incognito, which is in a park. There's no latex, and we just meet and we talk just so you can get to know the group. We then have socials, which are just talking at a bar, drinking with friends, low-key. You can come in gear, you can not come in gear. And then we have parties, which are going to be your DJ, your very loud event, and ton of people, crowded space. So there's different leveling of how you can get into a space with different levels of anxiety. It usually takes people about a year following our club, talking to random people to get to the point where they're like, we're going to come to one of your events. We're trying to figure out how to shrink that and make it a little easier. We thought the incognito was going to do that. It's still challenging. So if anybody has suggestions on how we can make this better, let us know.
Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Kirsten, oh my God.
It's okay.
And I haven't started drinking yet. What is the fit you're looking for in a latex garment? Like, how is it supposed to fit? Is there a spectrum? What do I need to know?
It's definitely a spectrum. Latex does not have to be tight. I know some of you, hello? Oh, lovely humans are wearing super tight latex. I'm wearing super loose latex. So it's really a matter of preference, it's a matter of your style. Even when, I also wear form-fitting garments, I also don't like them super tight. So, if I eat and I'm bloated, I don't want to look like a sausage. So I tend to fit my garments a little more comfortably. Some people enjoy the constriction, so that's like an added thing. So you can look at it from a fashion standpoint or the fetish standpoint, and there's a big spectrum in between.
I would say I like all of them. There's tracksuits, which are loose and are very sexy. There's the skin tight the catsuits, which are also really hot. And then there's layering, where you wear a tight catsuit and then you have like a loose vest on top, pop of color, something different. So there's a huge variety of fashions and styles and choices. So don't feel like you can like get held into one little area. Like go and explore. I lost my train of thought for the other part. But yeah, I'll come back to it.
Yeah, because right now I'm tight. I'm not quite like stuffed sausage tight, but like
A little bit. Just a tiny. What?
What? Be nice to me.
No. I'm a brat.
Do you have anything productive to add? You can be productive.
No, yeah. Recapping everything that you all said, you mentioned really important sort of like tidbits Don't put too many rubber clothes together. Essentially, maybe just like 2 pieces, and maybe that's max. Don't leave it in water with soap. Don't really use powder for play unless you're really into that. And make sure that you don't get mold and contaminate the rest of your pieces. And if you want to go to a place and you feel uncomfortable, you can check incognito and start making friends before going into a place that's heavily rubbered. Apart from all of those, I think it's also where do you go to buy these pieces to begin with? Like, I know we have some places locally, but when I try to go online, it is kind of a dizzy hole into an abyss, and sometimes I get pieces, sometimes I don't. Yeah, how do we find this?
Well, first you're going to come to me. I don't know why you would go to anyone else.
We actually have to add your stuff to ours for purchase stuff.
Well, we have Purple Passion here. That's probably the main fetish store. And I would say a lot of big cities have usually one. And then I know, Joey, they have a growing directory of different stores and shops around the world that you can add. And Latex 24/7 also has a directory. They are a fashion or a latex blog in the UK, and they also keep a running directory.
I did not know them.
I believe they also have a description of like what those brands are cater to.
That's really cool. I don't think anyone else on this table knew that.
And I will also say, you know, latex generally comes from Europe. I import all my latex from the UK. There are different qualities out there. So I know that China looks really cheap, and you're like, oh, hey. There's no real guidelines to China. I have heard of people's skin turning color from the dye.
Okay.
Lead is poisonous, and you don't know
Yes.
if they're using that in their zippers and their trim.
Okay.
And, you know, I do get in a lot of alterations from people ordering from China because things just don't fit. So, you know, you want to order from a reputable company. If you want to order China, that's totally on you. It's not something I recommend. And I think really the best way is to get recommendations from your friends. You know, if you see something that they're wearing and you like it, like, where'd they get it?
Just to slow things down a little bit, everything that we are talking about is written on the NYC Rubber.club website. We have purchase, repair, cleaning, all the instructions are on there, so no need to worry. It's all written down. If you do have questions, you can always reach out to us on Instagram, email, whatever, just talk to us. But yeah, we have on the Rubber Club website, we have a list of our preferred top 10 places to buy. We do prioritize New York City first. There's a group of friends that do latex in the East Side. They don't have a physical store, and they're putting their website together now, but there's stuff coming online. Kirsten does some stuff locally. There's E7, which is also up in Harlem, I think. There's also, well, the Leathermen used to do latex. They don't do it anymore. There's Purple Passion. So there are a few places to get stuff. If you are starting out, not really sure if you're into latex, the China stuff, and it's really just like a half the price, but it will last half as long, so like make your choices. And if you want to buy 2 pieces or one really good one, those are your choices.
Yeah, I feel like rubber is definitely similar to leather, in which spending a little bit more definitely goes a long way. I have gotten pieces that were pretend rubber before from I don't really know where.
It's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it's like interesting plasticky things that definitely are not the same. But yeah, so I would stick with either local or the known.
Yeah, don't always believe the description of it's latex.
Right.
It's just shiny.
It's just shiny.
So no Temu.
I love buying secondhand. Well, I love selling secondhand. I sell off my pieces. I think buying secondhand is fine. I think as long as you know how old the piece is, right? Latex, because it's natural, eventually will turn back to sap. So if you guys don't know, latex is sap from the rubber tree. And usually I find around like 10, 15 years, things are starting to age. They get soft. I do have pieces that I actually just dumped a bunch of pieces I made 20 years ago because they finally got all weird. But usually after 10 years, you probably want something new. So then you can offload it to someone who's looking for a secondhand piece.
Hold on, I need to back up for a minute. Are you telling me that latex is the maple syrup of a rubber tree?
Yes.
Yes.
And it's and it's
This is
harvested.
wild to me.
It's harvested the same way.
Oh, you see, I can just go to a rubber tree, hammer a nail, and it'll just
Yeah.
trickle out.
Yep.
All right, we're getting a rubber tree for the apartment.
If you guys want to get secondhand stuff, the Rubber Club is trying to do a gear swap more often. We're doing one in January, so if you guys want to get involved, message us or come to the event. There should be some gear there for everybody to take a look at. Our last one was a few months ago. It was very popular. So there are options, and they're getting better.
I want to get into a little bit more about like where you feel the borderline between what is a fashionable piece and what the fetish wear piece is. There really a line? Do we have opinions? I wear anything out anywhere.
I say, there people with the fetish can be attracted to the look of it. I know some people who like the look of it on other people. Some people like the constriction. There's toys like a vac bed that is bondage play. Some people enjoy full encasement. So you're looking at like hoods, gloves, all that stuff, and it is either the look or how it feels. Shocking, am not a rubberist. I don't really enjoy being fully encased. Maybe in a vac bed. I like vac beds. But generally, I wear my stuff more fashion because I like to mix my pieces with regular clothing. And I also like to make them so you don't know they're latex until you're right next to me. So like jackets and things like that.
I would say that each person's going to have their own reason for getting latex. Some of the smell's good. Some of them like the physical feeling of touching somebody else. The compression aspect is also anti-anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's also another reason to get into it. And there's also just a visual aspect of it. It just looks amazing. So there's a lot of things that you can like about latex.
Yeah, the smell. There's certain colors that come in, I swear, they smell like cookies.
Yeah. Like a vanilla
The colors
cookie.
smell like cookies?
Yeah, powder blue especially. It smells like cookies.
Wait, actually,
It smells like vanilla.
on that,
Yeah, it
how,
smells like vanilla.
Yeah.
how do you make colored rubber? Like, how does that happen?
Sap from the tree. It's gathered. It's
Some elves are involved.
somewhat involved.
Elves are involved.
Elves are
Some
definitely
elves.
involved.
A lot of sticky.
It's a lot of sticky, but it's basically vulcanized at a lower temperature than, let's say, rubber tires. And they add in things like carbon. Your black is made with carbon. They add in mica and other pigments. And it's all mixed around and like poured out. So the big manufacturers roll it out in sheets. My manufacturers that do prints, they do smaller. They're like 1 meter by 1 meter, 1 by 2 meters, and they pour it in a little thing, and that's how it's made. But you can just buy pigments. So, like the custom leopard I had made, I chose a UV pigment that I wanted.
That's cool.
I am now hoping that these videos come up in my Instagram feed because I do want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone's feed will be all
they?
latex. What? They come up in yours?
Yeah, because of the trees and all that. Yeah.
I need to get on the section of the algorithm. We already talked about like some people like it very tight, some people like it looser. Have you run into like issues with people and like having body image issues, or do people find naturally what works for them?
I think the body issues exist, but I think personal body issues are worse than reality because I think everybody looks just better in latex. So I feel like if you feel self-conscious, I think you should ask it a friend because I think your friend's going to be like, well, this is fine. And you're going to feel a little bit self-conscious, but there's no need for it.
I think it's really about finding silhouettes that are comfortable for you. In the Midwest, people are a little bit bigger than us on the coast, but my friends own Bundesk, and they said that plus size latex flies off the shelf faster than anything else. So I think it's really a matter of finding pieces that work for you. I think, in terms of women, a lot of them wear corsets just to help with the hourglass figure, to make you feel a little bit better about your tummy or any of your kind of problem issues. But yeah, I agree with Joey. Everyone just looks better shiny.
Accurate.
Yeah, because we're doing it in like the middle of December. I've had 2 holiday parties that week. I feel like I'm still recovering from Thanksgiving. I still got like turkey bloat going on. I gotta sneak into the latex tank top. It was all running through my head too. So, if I'm going out, I've made the decision. I want a shiny piece. It's going to be my first piece. What do you think I should get? Where do I start? What's level 1 latex?
I always recommend separates. I personally don't wear black latex because I like to be the center of attention. However, I do recommend black. So with men, I usually recommend a tank or shorts, mainly because you guys tend to run a little hotter. And if you're kind of a sweaty guy, I wouldn't recommend, unless you know you're into rubber, I wouldn't necessarily recommend a cat suit because let's see how much you sweat, especially when you're adding substances and drinking, right? Your body temperature is going to go up. With women, same thing, separates. Like if you had leggings and a long sleeve top put together and shined, it looks like a cat suit. But you have more versatility in your wardrobe as you're building it out. I wouldn't recommend going for like a really amazing custom piece because if this was my only piece, now I'm the girl with the rainbow dress that you see everywhere, right? You don't want to be that person.
Or maybe you do.
Or maybe you do. It's
I would definitely say the sweatier the better. So I don't know. It depends on the person. But I would agree. I think simple is better for getting started. 100% black for your first piece because it goes with everything, and you're in New York. Also, the shorts are super easy to put on. The tank tops are easy to put on with 4 people. So I think those are great options for the first. Avoid zippers. Avoid complexity. Just get into it. Have fun. Be relaxed. Second stage is like something with a zipper that maybe is like a surf suit, a tank, like a vest or something a little bit more colorful. And then I would say like third round is like cat suit or something with a shoulder or front or back zipper. And if you're like PhD level, it'd be like a neck entry.
those still amaze me.
Oh my god.
I don't have that much patience. I try to put on leggings, I give up, and you'll see me lying down and they're like at my knees, and I need a minute.
Oh, they're easy to get into. They're not easy to get out of.
PhD level is crazy, especially because I have one of those. See, I'm not that dumb. How would you recommend if you are trying to get, let's say you made the mistake of buying a neck entry suit for your first time or for your first piece, how would you recommend going into that?
With a safety friend. I would say getting into it, your challenges are not going too quickly, because then you tend to break because you're like, I'm frustrated, and you're trying to put it on too quickly. So take your time. If you have a friend, they can help you with areas where like you need to pull a little harder on the neck entry to like get in and do weird arm contortion stuff. Like the friend is just really helpful to get in. If you're strong, flexible, crazy, it should be no problem.
And honestly, if it's not going on easily, you need more lube.
Oh, lots of love.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty
Just
much a
add
rule
more
with a
lube
lot
regardless.
of things. If it's not happening easily, you should, yeah.
Yeah.
But
For your like first piece, you know, if you're like shopping online and you see like the different thicknesses, do newbies need to be like thinking about that? Or is it just pick the cheapest one for your first suit?
I guess a little bit of both. I would say I use 0.45 millimeters. I find that it's still thin enough to feel like a second skin, but it's a little more durable for, let's say, my nails. But there are designers who use 0.33, but I feel nervous in a 0.33. I'm not exactly the most graceful woman. I knock into things all the time, so I don't want things to like catch and rip.
I would say 0.4 to 0.3 to 0.4 is your sweet spot. It's going to be durable, still give you a latex feeling. Me personally, I like 0.25. It's easier to put on. It's so much more forgiving. You can get 4 sizes too wrong, and it's fine. It still fits great. If you get a thicker garment, which is 0.45 or something 0.5, you put it on. If it's not the right size, like you may not feel your arm, or like you may have to call a family member. There's just stuff that goes on.
Well, it's less stretchy the thicker it is.
Yeah.
So that's
it's more
something to
durable.
keep in mind.
It's just less forgiving for size, body changes, mistakes, stuff like that. Also, it feels different. Like you kind of forget you're on a 0.25. You just have to not run into corners and get caught on sharp metal things and watch out for long nails and just be careful. Easy.
Easy. No problem.
Just don't run into anything.
Yeah, don't touch the
Especially
walls.
in the city.
Well, that's what we call S&M, stand and model.
Oh, that's what it's for. Got it. That makes sense.
Very important.
What I want to jump off a little bit off of that. When you are putting your first rubber piece on, how do you recommend to, like, for example, Daddy over here takes a minute to put it all on. So sans the additional lube, because sometimes you have a lot of lube and it's still not going. Do you roll it? Do you, like, how do you put it on, essentially?
I think if you run into problems, I recommend starting over. There's an art to getting dressed, and that is also part of the fetish. So like with pants, if the crotch isn't all the way up, there's no way you're going to be able to shimmy that up. You got to take it all the way off, and we start over. So definitely give yourself plenty of time before an event to make sure you can get into everything. Do you have any tips?
I would put on some meditation music. I would go slow. Enjoy the process. I wouldn't rush it. I would also say be careful about grabbing and pulling too hard. At some point, if it's not working, just kind of recenter, think about things a little bit, and then get back to it. You can always add lube as well. You can dump it in and just kind of like switch it around and have a little fun. The other thing too is that I think like when you get stuff on, you can crumple up an entire leg and like pull it all the way up first and then put the leg back down. That's one way to do it. So that way you have like a massive latex that you're grabbing and you're not grabbing like just the end of it and putting a lot of stress on a tiny piece, pulling up an entire leg worth of latex. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to convey that unless you've done this before. So
I guess it's like putting on stockings or nylons. You bunch it down to the toe and then you like slowly slide it up your leg. It's that same concept. Like it's not going to go anywhere if you're just pulling at the top.
Yeah, I just go slow, enjoy the process. I would not do your first piece right before an event. Like put it on before you, like when you get it and you have time and you can take a break, watch a show or something. Like just take your time on the first one. The two pieces though makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Just grow into the complexity.
So I will jump in because I want to do one last question before we hand it over to see if anyone here has any questions. And that is, we've been talking around care and making sure we don't rip through our gear. What do you think are like the big 3 tips for a beginner on how to not damage your new gear? What are like the key points we need to hammer home so I don't put my fingernail through the tank top that I'm wearing now? It's all about me. I'm being very selfish tonight.
You can always experiment with plastic wrap. Wrap out and like try to pull on it and like see how far you can stretch it before it doesn't go back, just to get an idea of like what this stuff is like. So when you play around with the plastic wrap. Second is then as you get your first piece, maybe buy the cheaper one because it's going to happen at some point in time. You will not forget your first blowout, but it's a thing. So like just embrace that you don't want to rush. Take your time, use plenty of lube, keep the garment simple, slowly as you do it every day.
And I think for dressing, if you do have nails, you can wear cotton gloves. That's really popular, especially in stores. They will offer you gloves to help that. In terms of other things with latex, you want to be careful of metal, especially copper. Copper will stain immediately. If you were to handle like a bunch of pennies and then touch your latex, you will stain your latex. Leather and latex do not get along. I have been stained by someone who was single-tailing and came over to hug me with all their sweaty leather hands and stained all my latex. So be really careful when trying to mix your gear if you have leather harnesses or whatever. Latex does not like oil, so leather is treated with oil. Latex does also not like to sit in the sun. You can go swimming in latex. It's really fun. But don't leave your latex like near a sunny window. It will chalk. It will turn white, and you can't do anything once that happens. So those are a couple of the care. And deodorant and perfume. Again, perfume is a type of oil. I recommend either put all that stuff on really early. I put on my latex right before I walk out the door. Because if you get a deodorant stain on it, that thing is really hard to get off, and you don't want to be spraying oils on your latex either. So just be aware of all those wonderful things. But other than that, it's really easy.
I actually remembered my last thought. When you are pulling it up or pulling it down, essentially just pulling, how do you pull the rubber so that it doesn't break?
As wide as possible. By wide, I mean like try to grab, not with fingertips, but like broad, like grab with your whole palm and try to pull as a unit. Again, try not to pull too much, but what too much is you have to learn from experience. But for the most part, try to do broad strokes. Sometimes it's also easier just to like put two hands down your pants, pull out and pull up than it is to like stretch the latex.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Same with like dresses, some tight dresses. I'll just like bring everything up to my waist and then slowly shimmy it down. And you want to like do the same thing, kind of like pull it away and down. And then I think with like leggings or sleeves, sometimes you can kind of do that in motion. No one knows what I'm doing because we're on a podcast. But
Again and again and again and again.
it's like
Yeah.
stroking. I'm stroking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same applies to taking stuff off. Sometimes it's challenging to kind of pull the latex off. So if you're in a shower and you can like open the top and let the water run in, it will kind of like fill up the suit, create a little bit of a boundary that you can use to help pull the stuff off. It makes things a little easier. So out, there are options. In, I don't know if there's a vacuum chamber that you can like pull the thing out on, but like other than that, just go slow.
Yeah, I do recommend getting undressed in the shower. It feels really nice. You get everything off, give it a little rinse, and then you're all clean. Unless you want to stay dirty. That's up to you.
Yeah, it's definitely the easiest way, but not the funnest.
To stay dirty.
Wait, no, what? The other way. Fun to stay dirty, not to stay clean.
So does anyone here with us have a question? Wow, hands went up quickly. Jeez. All right.
All right, I'm going to turn over for questions in just a second, but let's hear it for our panelists. Thank you, guys. Can I be selfish and ask a question before I turn it over to the audience?
Of course.
Okay. So we heard a lot about like fit and getting things on. Do you guys have any other tips in terms of cleaning? I know you were just talking about like getting into the shower, getting some water in it, but how do you clean your gear? How do you make sure it's not like stinky and sweaty after a long night out?
So mine, I bought a, when you go camping, they have these dry bags. They're pretty cheap online. I fill it with warm water and Dawn soap. Put my gear in after, this is a little bit neurotic, but I do this after I wear it every day just to get all the human oils off or whatever I was touching. But I would take my garment, put it in warm water with the soap, let it sit for a little bit, shake it around, flip it inside out, put it down, and then I dump it, put warm water in, rinse it, dump it out again, and then put warm water in, but this time with like, I don't know, 30 mils of lube. Dump your garment in and out, and really the lube sits on the top of the water. And as you pull the latex through that boundary, it lightly coats the entire piece inside and out, makes it super easy. You just kind of like shuffle underneath the water with your hands, and it ends up coating everything. And just keep doing that until it feels sort of slimy or individual fabric instead of like a lump of fabric. And that way you know that you've gotten most of the garment covered with lube. And then I would take it out, hang it up, let it air dry. If it's like a catsuit, I'd put paper towels or something in the middle to separate it so that air can get in the middle. Let it dry for 12 hours to 24 hours. Just make sure it's dry, and you can tell by no water droplets on it or like no slight discolorations like white or something like that. And that's mainly because you want to get it so it's dry and doesn't get moldy and smelly. But for the most part, if you let it sit in some soapy water for 20 minutes, you're probably going to get most of it off.
And there are cleaning systems, like I had mentioned before. So like B-Gloss, the soap is formulated to get rid of like smoke smell or body odor or anything like that. I am not as detailed as you. Usually my stuff is crumpled in a ball at the end of the night, and then I leave it in the water way too long. But either way, you just want to make sure you hang it up on plastic hangers, no metal. And I end up turning some stuff inside out. So I wait, if the outside is dry, I'll just flip it and make sure the inside is dry as well. And then you could do a light coating of like lube or shine, and then I hang it up.
Cool. Thanks so much. Okay, now audience questions.
So we kind of covered when you are the one in the latex. What about when your partner is the one in the latex? Both in kind of assuming you've got the consent to touch first, obviously, but the kind of how to interact with that, both on a like more PG front but also more adult fun times front. Do you have any tips for partners wearing latex?
I've been whipped in latex. It's so much fun. Latex is pretty durable. I've been whipped, I've been hit, I've been suspended in rope. Nylon rope is usually a little more friendly rather than some of the natural fibers. Yeah, I think I've only had a piece pop on me once with my nail, and twice my seam wasn't glued all the way and it popped off. But other than that, I haven't really experienced anything popping from impact play, but I might not play as hard as some of you. So.
I'm a very different person, so I'm going to answer this question a little differently. I'm not really an impact person. I'm, I guess, more of a sensation person. One of my favorite activities to do with another person who's in latex, dark room, lights, and good music, but just kind of like pet them. It feels amazing. And you basically can like run over their entire body and sort of imagine a story they were telling with your fingers and let that person just enjoy. It's amazing.
Yeah, the sensation of latex. Like I've also been in a vac bed, and that's also a big sensation play. And I think that's additionally with like hoods and full encasement, all lends to sensory deprivation. And yeah, it just feels really nice. It's very touchy. It's touchy.
Did we answer your question? I feel like
yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, first of all, thank you very much. That was very interesting. But just for Kirsten,
Yes, thank you.
how do you actually fabricate with latex? I like to make my stuff. I like to customize stuff. How do you actually fabricate it? You mentioned glue a minute ago. You don't sew it, do you?
You do not sew it, and actually I teach classes, so if you guys want some hands-on experience, you do? Yes. Latex is glued together with rubber cement.
Oh, I got that. I got it.
There are some more tutorials online these days, and back in the day you really needed to have an apprenticeship to learn. You want to cut it with a rotary cutter, so you have a clean line. Scissors kind of leave jagged edges. And then rubber cement. I use Best Test. That's something you can find here. Paper cement. I would not use Elmer's. Whatever's formulated for children, it just doesn't work very well. And yeah, you just clean it off with alcohol and let it dry. If it's curling from the rubber cement, it's from the fumes. Just wait for it to dry, and then smush it. And that's pretty much it. It's a difficult fabric to work with because
Curves are impossible.
It's because it stretches, right? But you don't know you're stretching it as you're working with it. So you need to have like a very delicate sort of hand. But there's a lot of tricks to help you with curves and things like that.
So imagine cutting something that's flexible and stretchy. You can put tape on it to give you a little bit of structure to work with, so it also minimizes the curling. But basically you take your latex, you lay it out, tape on the back, you put first on a layer of glue, you let it sit, it becomes very tacky. You do the same on the other side, and then when the two sides are tacky, you can put them together, and it's sort of a one shot. When they're together, they're together. You can sometimes separate them, but for the most part, just be very careful about putting the two pieces together. Definitely trial and error on something that's not important, just to get a sense for it. But for the most part, it's straightforward. It's just you have to be like good on your first try, and that's what makes it hard.
You can pick it up. I usually recommend just like very lightly placing it, and when you're absolutely positive that's where it looks good, then you can smush it down. But it's good to practice. I know Canal Rubber, you can buy some stuff. New York Elegant Fabrics also sells some latex. I have a shit ton of scraps. If anyone wants scraps for repairs, like happy to give it away so you guys can play around.
Any other questions?
Okay, one last question. It's my personal question. Okay, I want a surf suit with a front zipper. Here's my concern. I had open heart surgery, so I have a big bowl of scar tissue going up and down my chest. And I know from cycling, wearing a cycling jersey, the front zipper irritates me unless it's like very specifically placed. Am I going to have more of an issue with buying a latex surf suit with a front zipper?
Buy something that's maybe on the higher end, so it has a flap on the inside, protecting you from the zipper.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Yeah.
But not all custom gear. Some of the stuff from China doesn't have the protective flap.
Yeah.
So
Buy it for me.
I have another question. I want to get whipped in rubber, but I don't want to get stained. What material should I get whipped with?
Well, if you wear black, I think you'll be okay.
Oh, the answer is buy me a latex flogger.
They also, they do make rubber toys, and I will say rubber toys do hurt quite a bit. They do,
do, like
they
the
have some
rubber-
weight to them.
Like the rubber tire.
Yeah. They're very
Yeah.
stingy. Come back next month when we talk about impact play.
Yes. Oh, one more question.
So something I just wanted to add, this mostly applies to locked boys, but also people that get very horny and tend to get very erect. Try to get rubber with a codpiece, which is not what I'm wearing right now, and I don't see anyone with a codpiece on, but otherwise putting it on, you might struggle a bit. Because of the extra bulk of the cage, you might struggle a bit with the zipper. So a codpiece would alleviate that issue because all you're doing is just putting it through the hole. Just a quick thing I wanted to add.
All right, now it's time for me to close it out. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to Rebar. Thank you for DJ Clap.
Yes.
Thanks
Oh.
for having us.
Yes.
I got a call sheet here.
I don't know what they're doing.
Thank you for spending the evening with us. Let's go down the line. Leave us all the plugs, all the handles, and the things coming up, and everything else. All the internets.
So I'm with New York City Rubber Club. Website is nycrubber.club. We have a flyer up here for our January event if you guys want to check it out. You can take one of these home. There's a QR code if you want to scan and make it a little easier, go to our website. Again, we have a bunch of latex care stuff on our site. We will be doing courses and stuff in the future, even if it's just collection of YouTube videos or linking other, like Kirsten's courses online, just so that you can find them. We're probably going to do our own at some point as well. So we do want to encourage people to make latex, get the New York City fashion, be world renowned and take over Europe. But it's a work in progress. Yeah, come to our event. Say hi. You don't have to come in gear. Just be friendly.
Yeah, and then for me, you can find me at Kirsten Li. I'm on all the platforms as Kirsten Li. And then my group is called Gloss Group. You can find us at glossgroup.nyc. And we have a play event coming up in January. It's our 2-year anniversary. Woo! Thanks. So you can fill out like a vetting form. We are a vetted event. So just for safety and consent, making sure everyone's happy. And we do have cocktail hours every month. So you can come and meet us if you don't know someone personally in the group. And yeah, I hope I see you guys.
All right, that sounds awesome. Thank you again to both of our panelists. And thank you again, Rebar, for having us. And thank you all for coming.
Yeah. We'll be back here the third Wednesday of every month. That's January 15th. We'll be talking about everything impact play related. We have to alternate between topics that I don't know anything about to topics I know a lot about to help my ego. So if you're interested in learning about smacking someone around or getting smacked around yourself, come back here next month and we'll talk about that.
All right, that's it. Enjoy, hang out, everyone. Socialize, buy more drinks at the bar, tip your bartender. We have a raffle going on. Don't forget about that. We haven't had very many submissions yet. It's 1 ticket for 5 or 5 for 20. You have a very high likelihood of winning. Come through and buy some raffle tickets. Oh, that's right. We're raffling some VV Shine, shiny things for your latex. So come through. I'm standing over here.